is the question we need to answer today. Remember the story of David who defeated Goliath? High blood pressure is the giant that many people are afraid of. Some were already defeated, some are still scared of this giant. But we will learn that this giant can be conquered just like David did. I am Baloyo, and join me in this Bible seminar in efforts to make our families healthy and happy for a blessed life here and for eternity. Joshua Marine said, "Challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes life meaningful." Every day, we're faced with so many challenges, maybe in our health, school, work, or relationships. They make us feel burdened and less satisfied with life. But we are reminded in 3 John 2 that it is God's desire that all of us may prosper in all things and be in health. It is God's plan that we will rise higher than these challenges and live a prosperous life. The health information given in this series is for health education only. It is not designed to be a substitute for the medical care of your physician. So, if you think you have high blood pressure and you have not yet been diagnosed medically, please see your family doctor as soon as possible. Our topic is entitled Beat High Blood Pressure. It's David and Goliath. Giants oftentimes cause major difficulties in our life and bring with it the possibility of life-threatening situations. More than likely, there is someone listening today that is a giant now in their life. You may really is. A giant, anything that distracts us from our focus on God, anything that from our service for God, and anything that drains us of our driving passion for God. Let's hear from my mom how to conquer these giants. Mom.
Thanks again, Pauline. Now, we are on our 3rd episode. And again, before I proceed, I'd like to tell you that the series is based on this book, Happy and Healthy. It is important to have health and happiness, especially during these times, so that we could cope with the pandemic. Now, the Bible story of David and Goliath is quite well known. We remember David and his sling. Using one of the 5 smooth stones, still David hit Goliath right on his forehead. On one corner, there was the giant, over 9 feet tall. He was an experienced man of war-clad in his armor. Who would even try to think to fight this human being? Tall, angry, and ready to kill anyone that comes his way. On the other hand, there was this shepherd boy who never fought a battle, a real battle, with spears and swords. The Bible tells us this boy killed a lion while watching his sheep with his sling. But hey, just a sling? Who would even think to use a sling on the battlefield? But this seemingly pitiful lad had a training we would never know about. So when the giant boasted, "Come to me and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field," as this is written in 1 Samuel 17:44. And the boy answered, "You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." And you know the rest of the story. Wonder of wonders. The boy killed the giant. High blood pressure is a silent killer. Now let's talk about the giant that is a silent killer. High blood pressure, or what they call as hypertension. It stands over many of us like a big and tall giant, like Goliath. He stands tall, big, and strong, and he keeps on taunting us. But just as David defeated the giant, we can also beat hypertension. You may have heard people saying, "I have a high BP." I would say that sometimes. But do you really know what high BP or high blood pressure is? Let me put it simply like this. The heart has a rhythm. When you listen to your heart, you will hear a lub-dub, lub-dub in regular beats. The heart pumps the blood by contraction. Blood pressure is the force of the blood being pushed by the heart against the walls of the arteries as the blood circulates throughout the body. Blood pressure is taken using two measurements, the systolic and the diastolic. Systole is the maximum pressure your heart exerts while beating, while diastole is the phase of the heartbeat when the heart muscle relaxes and allows the chambers to fill with blood. The normal blood pressure reading for an adult is 120/80. The upper number in this case is 120, and this is the systolic, while 80 is the diastolic. Now, if the reading is above 140/90, hypertension is present. Hypertension, as we said, is a silent killer. High blood pressure is a killer. Hypertensive persons are 3 times more likely to have a heart attack, 5 times more likely to get heart failure, and 8 times more likely to suffer from a stroke. Hypertension is like a ticking time bomb and is called the silent killer. Why? Because very often there are no noticeable symptoms. Sometimes there are symptoms like labored breathing, chest pain, or irregular heartbeat, but there were many people who didn't show any signs or symptoms like this. When they arrived at the hospital, it was already too late. Approximately 33% of people who are hypertensive don't even know it. We should therefore all get tested regularly. You can go to the nearest health center in your area to have your blood pressure checked. If you are at high risk, better buy your own sphygmomanometer. That's the machine to take your BP, so that the sphygmo could have your BP monitored. But just as David defeated the giant, we can also beat hypertension. What weapons did God inspire David to prepare? Remember, he chose for himself only what? 5 smooth stones from the brook, and he put them in a shepherd's bag, in a pouch with which he had, and a sling was in his hand. This is written in 1 Samuel 17:40. We too can use 5 stones to conquer the Goliath of hypertension. Now, let's go to stone number 1, the DASH or DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. The DASH diet is a lifelong approach to healthy eating that's designed to help treat or prevent high blood pressure or hypertension. The DASH diet plan was developed to lower blood pressure without medication in a research sponsored by the U.S. National Institutes of Health. Here are some of its elements. Number 1, limit salt intake to no more than just 1 level of teaspoon per day. Read food labels, because focusing on how much sodium it contains really helps, because salt contributes to the hardening of the arteries and high blood pressure. Also, stay away from red meat, especially processed meat. Processed meat such as hot dogs, meatloaf. Saturated fats in meat block blood vessels, and this increases the risk of hypertension. Eat an abundance of fresh raw foods such as fruits and vegetables, and use more whole grains. They are low on fat but high on fiber. Because the DASH diet is a healthy way of eating, it offers health benefits besides just lowering the blood pressure. The DASH diet is also in line with dietary recommendations to prevent osteoporosis, cancer, heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Having this diet, you can conquer even the other giants of your life. Now, let's go to stone number 2. As always, aerobic exercise. One of the biggest risk factors for hypertension is obesity. Each extra pound of body fat has an extra mile of blood vessels that must be serviced. So, doing regular aerobic exercises is one of the best ways to combat obesity. Exercise burns calories and causes weight loss, decreasing risk of obesity. Like I said in the previous episodes about exercise, aerobic exercises are best, like cycling, running, swimming, and walking. As we mentioned, walking is the safest, the least expensive, and the best. The recommended amount of exercise is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Discover the exercise that you enjoy and reap the benefits of a lifestyle free from any lifestyle disease and high blood pressure. You may need at least 60 minutes of moderate exercise a day to prevent weight gain. And if you want to lose weight, you will have to spend 90 minutes a day to lose weight. Moderate aerobic exercise is generally defined as requiring the energy it takes to walk 2 miles in 30 minutes. So do warm-up exercises or gentle stretches before exercising. If you have a certain condition, please see your physician and follow recommendations for your physical activity. Now let's go to stone number 3. Avoid risky substances. Drinking alcohol and smoking are 2 leading causes of hypertension. Drinking alcohol can raise your blood pressure. In fact, alcohol is linked to 16% of high blood pressure cases around the world. While some research have suggested that low to moderate amounts of alcohol may protect the heart, those benefits actually may be offset by the adverse effects. Among the many reasons to quit smoking is that the habit is a strong risk factor for heart disease. Every puff of cigarette smoke causes a slight temporary increase in the blood pressure. The chemicals in cigarettes are also known to damage the blood vessels. So if you smoke, make quitting your number 1 health priority. It could save your life. Now, even if you're not a smoker, remember that secondhand smoke still puts you at risk. So better quit. Stone number 4, manage stress. Stress is a key driver of high blood pressure. When you're chronically stressed, your body is in a constant fight or flight mode. On a physical level, that means faster heart rate and constricted blood vessel. When you experience stress, you might also be more likely to engage in other behaviors, such as you want to drink alcohol or you want to eat unhealthy food that can adversely affect blood pressure. So, when you are under stress, the muscle tightens, the heart pounds faster, and blood pressure rises. Living with constant stress can elevate blood pressure, but managing your stress can result in lower blood pressure. Now, here again are some ways to combat stress. Of course, we have mentioned manage your time. Avoid the rush and hurry. When we are in a hurry, our heart beats faster, causing us to be stressed, but preparing ahead of time can help us through the schedule peacefully and with ease. Second, engage in relaxing activities often. Activities such as listening to relaxing music, because calming music can help relax your nervous system. Research has shown it is an effective complement to other blood pressure therapies. Third, and I like this one, laugh. A good belly laughter can relieve stress and lower blood pressure. So watch those movies or clips that could make you laugh. Laugh a lot. It really helps lower the blood pressure. Let's go to stone number 5 and the last. Now here it comes again, the importance of divine meditation. Meditation trains the mind to move from the problems that raise blood pressure to a power that is greater. Some meditation classes teach that the power lies in you, but divine meditation, as we've mentioned the other day or the other night, says that this power comes from God. We can access God's power through prayer, Bible study, and spiritual meditation each day, especially in the morning, at the beginning of the day when you wake up, talk to God. Remember this verse in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." So there's nothing to be stressed about when we put our lives in God's hand. Again, the deep breathing techniques is effective. In one study, participants were asked to either take 6 deep breaths over the course of 30 seconds or just simply sit still for 30 seconds, and it works to lower the blood pressure. Those who took deep breaths lower their blood pressure more than those who just sat. So, deep breathing instead of just sitting down. However, for some persons, because of genetic and other factors, blood pressure medication will still be needed. But the more we use the 5 stones, the less medication we will need. So don't forget the 5 stones to conquer high blood pressure, such as the DASH diet, aerobic exercise, and avoid the risky substances such as alcohol and cigarettes. Then again, manage stress and practice the divine meditation through prayer, Bible study, and spiritual meditation.
In addition to daily meditation, we also need a weekly spiritual meditation. This weekly meditation was instituted by God in the Garden of Eden. Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3 says, "And on the 7th day God ended His work which He had made, and He rested on the 7th day from all His work which He had made." And verse 3 says, "And God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because in it He had rested from all His work which God created and made." So in Eden, God instituted the 7th-day Sabbath for spiritual meditation. But today, Sabbath worship, just like the boy David, seems small. Only a few people believe in it as God's rest day. Just like Goliath, the first day of worship stands tall. Let's go back to how the world got the first day of worship to be the rest day. The first one is about Christ's crucifixion. Some believe that it happened at Christ's crucifixion. In Colossians chapter 2, verse 14 to 17 says, "And He has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross, so let no one judge you in food or in drink, or regarding a festival, or a new moon, or Sabbaths, which are a shadow of the things to come, but the substance is of Christ." What was this shadow? Christ's shadow was the ceremonial system of sacrifices in that sanctuary. This system had 7 annual holidays or holy days like Passover, Pentecost, and Day of Atonement. And they occur once a year like our Good Friday and Christmas. These annual holidays were called Sabbaths. We can find it in Leviticus chapter 23, 27, and 32. So when Jesus died, that whole system with its animal sacrifices and its annual Sabbaths came to an end. He cried, "It is finished," in John 19:30. and the veil of the temple was torn in two. So today, we need no more candlesticks because Christ is the light of the world. No more altar. Calvary was the altar. No more priest. Jesus is our high priest. No more lamb. Jesus is the Lamb of God. And no more Passover. Christ is our Passover. That is what nailed to the cross. So at Christ's crucifixion, Goliath did not conquer David. Now another reason is Christ's resurrection. Other people believe that the chains was made at Christ's resurrection. Three texts are used. First is John 20, verse 19. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Why had they assembled? For fear of the Jews. That's the point. Now the second text is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. Now about the collection for the Lord's people. Do what I told the Galatian churches to do. In verse 2, on the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income, saving it up, so that when I come, no collections will have to be made. Was this a worship service? Of course not. And it seems to me that they are having a meeting with regards to how they can collect money. The third text that they use is Acts chapter 20, 17 to 18. From Miletus, Paul sent to Ephesus for the elders of the church, and when they arrived, he said to them, "You know how I lived the whole time I was with you. From the first day I came into the province of Asia. This is the only first day meeting in Scripture, and it was a farewell Saturday night meeting." Paul was having a farewell service before traveling on Sunday. And since the day starts at sunset in Genesis chapter 1 verse 5, this meeting was held on Saturday night. You get it? Saturday night. The early church broke bread anywhere on any day. Acts chapter 2 verse 26. It is important to note that while the New Testament records only one first day meeting, it records 83 Sabbath services. We can find it in Acts chapter 13, verse 14 and 44, chapter 17, verse 2, and Acts chapter 18, 4 and 11. So, at Christ's resurrection, Goliath did not conquer David. So how did Goliath become so big and so strong? It was actually the Roman Emperor Constantine who issued the first Sunday law. That was on March 7, 321 AD. Here it is. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. And in the country, however, persons engaging in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits. And when the Roman Empire fell, the Roman Church perpetuated Sunday worship. Here is her statement. Question: have you any other way of proving that the church has power to institute festivals of precept? Answer: had she not such power, she could not have done that in which all modern religionists agree with her. she could not have substituted the observance of Sunday, the first day of the week, for the observance of Saturday, the seventh day, a change for which there is no scriptural authority. This was written by Reverend Stephen Keenan in the book A Doctrinal Catechism, page 174. So we can say tonight, brothers and sisters, that the battle lines are drawn. The question is, on whose side are you? David or Goliath? Sabbath worship or Sunday worship? Today, Christ is calling His people. He says, stand on my side. What is His name? He is Jesus, Son of David. And this is good news. Soon, Jesus, Son of David, is coming again. And we shall worship Him face to face from one Sabbath to another. And it shall come to pass from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, all flesh shall come to worship me, says the Lord, in Isaiah chapter 66, 22 and 23.
God, in His infinite knowledge, has given a special day of rest, not only because He wants us to remember Him as our Creator, but He has given us this special day for us to remember that in all difficulties of life, troubles and problems may come. We have the surety that we can for everything because He is our God, and He is bigger than our problems. So come to Jesus. You can never burden Him. He is a strong tower and a mighty fortress, our God whom we can trust. Today, we will hear a testimony from someone who will share with us how this person conquered hypertension and how the seventh-day Sabbath is a blessing.
When we got married, during the first years of our marriage, the time came when I experienced for the first time a very fearful or frightening experience. And I remember I was in Makati. I was attending a meeting somewhere there. And when I was in the rooftop, because the meeting was held in a rooftop, I felt hot. I felt hot. And I was so confused. And I felt for the first time a sense of confusion, and I can't breathe. Well. So I left the meeting and then hurried to call a taxi and then to go home immediately. I consulted my wife, and she said to me that I needed to be brought to the hospital. And so my wife accompanied me to the emergency room. And then I found out when they took my blood pressure, it was 160 over 100. And then the result came, and I found out that I had an elevated level of triglycerides. So I think that was the main issue that I experienced when I was still living in an ignorant life for healthy living. I remember because I grew up in a family where I think that we were not that oriented on how to live a healthy life. And during that time, I just felt that everything was going on. Just eat and eat, drink and drink, even though I was not drinking alcohol. But perhaps what I can say is I had an ignorant life with regard to living healthily. So I think that's the thing that I can say, because my parents did not teach us on how to eat vegetables well and fruits. And most of the time we were eating meat and other things that I think might endanger our life during our childhood times and before I received the health message. We were experiencing some sicknesses, and there were times that we were brought to a clinic for checkups because perhaps of eating something that might not be good to health. So there were times that we were brought to the clinic. I am very, very much thankful to this beautiful lady beside me, I remember when I was working in the cities of Manila, like in Pasig, in Makati, Mandaluyong, the breakfast before we got married, the breakfast that I enjoyed was always in fast food. And when I went to the hospital, okay, my doctor said he prescribed me that the maintenance would be lifetime. I cannot imagine living my life through maintenance. But because of my trust in the medicine, I took some medicine perhaps in a few weeks only. And you know what? I do not know if this is good, but I decided by myself to stop the medicine. And I changed my lifestyle. I took exercise every day. Okay, I jogged in the NPUC every day and even every night just to cure myself. And of course, my wife was preparing healthy food. That's what she said, oil-free. So I am very thankful. I am very thankful, and I believe God has sent her to be my helpmeet, not only in love, but also in health, in sickness and in health. So I am very thankful to this woman.
It is important for me to see my family in good state in all aspects. When I see my family healthy, it brings no worries for me, especially with him also. During this pandemic, everyone's desire and wish is to be healthy. So when I see everyone is healthy in the family, I consider it to be a great blessing. As a mother, I want to make sure that the mental, social, spiritual aspects are being also attended. So during our evening family worships, we share each other's experiences during the day. Our children are always excited to share what happened to their play with their other kids and how their online classes went. In this way, we share each other's concerns and feelings.
And for me, Brother Edward, I think God has perfectly designed the marriage institution in the book of Genesis. I do not know if I would still be living up to this point without my wife. I could have been dead, let's say 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Without her, I can say that she has been an essential part of me. Actually, this I can say that she is my living medicine, no, living medicine as long as I am living.
Thank you for that testimony. Indeed, we can rest on the one who created and redeemed us. It is a wonderful thing to know that the Creator of the universe set aside one special day for us to rest in Him, one day to enjoy His and with His created beings. It's been another wonderful episode with you all, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another episode on the healing wonders of sleep. Please don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Adventist Asia. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I am Pauline Baloyo, and this is Healthy and Happy Family Bibles. Stay healthy and happy for blessed and for eternity.